Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Vietnamese Security Network show. Today we have a guest who comes from one of our biggest partners in the world. His name is Edward Ferrel. He is Director, Principal Consulting of Mercury. Mercury is one of the leading provider security information service in Australia.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful time here in Vietnam so far. The work that we've been doing with Vsec for the last year has been excellent. It's been a really great time that we've had working and collaborating and doing the best for our customers. So Mercury is an Australian cyber security practice. We've been established now for 8 years. We mostly focus on assessment and assurance services. So we endeavour to be that independent umpire where we are a few bounds back in a place where we can help guide and shape our customers and make sure they get the best from a security standpoint.
Okay.
Yep, so the current demand for Redteam services, both here in Vietnam but also in Australia, is starting to increase. Traditionally we've focused on pen testing, but our clients are starting to evolve. But funnily enough, the threat environment is also starting to evolve. We're seeing greater sophistication and some of our traditional approaches to how we look at security have not been able to keep up. So Australia and Vietnam certainly are starting to see an increased focus on red teams and trying to rehearse their defenders to understand and defeat the threats that both our countries face, which are increasing for both our great countries, but also throughout the Asia Pacific. We've also started to see worldwide, so we've seen increases in this around the world, but funnily enough, if we look at a lot of our other countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom and Israel, there's already a very matured understanding and body of knowledge of execution that we are certainly learning from and are using to grow and build our own capabilities.
Okay, only the big corporations or financial banking sector are interested in implementing the Redteam service?
Look, both those environments are definitely the drivers and the biggest users of red teams. At the end of the day, banks tend to be significant targets for threat actors. They happen to have money, who knew? But then again though, there's a lot of other companies and organisations that also fit into that category. So a lot of large firms, but also smaller ones. One of the red teams that my team and I did in Australia was for a 12-person organisation that had a lot of cash flow, and even though they were a very small company, their threat profile was such that they needed our help to understand what could go wrong and how to deal with it. So it's not just purely for one industry or for one size of organisation. Understanding how an adversary is going to cause harm and dealing with it is something that I think we could all learn from.
You also the industry fellow of Australia Defence Force Academy. So could you tell us about the military between the red team and the military strategy?
Yep. So red teams are actually used fairly commonly in militaries. The idea is that our defence forces need to understand how the adversary is going to behave so that they can prepare their own teams. We've seen that certainly in the Australian militaries as well as in the United States, and I would even dare say Vietnam. If we know our threat and we know how they're going to behave, we can plan and prepare for those eventualities and make sure that our defenders are ready to defend.
Is there any potential danger or risk when the business is implementing Redteam practice?
Really good question. Look, at the end of the day, red teams are performing the exact same tactics, techniques and procedures that a live adversary would use. So there is every risk that a red team, if it's not properly trained, if it's not qualified, if it's not prepared, can fumble, can make mistakes and cause a lot of havoc for an organisation. But also expanding beyond that, if the red team is not coming at the activity from the right mindset and the right approach, they can also do a lot of harm as well. If a red team is very aggressive, if they are here to prove a point as opposed to train and educate the blue team, there's mental harm that can take place to our blue team. And then just beyond that as well, the blue team, if the blue team is not prepared, or if the organisation is not prepared for an organisation response, then the value of a red team can also be lost. So I think those are three areas that I think when we go to drive a red team, we need to be very cautious of.
Okay. What is important they need to prepare before run the red team service?
Yep. So a company, before they undertake any red team activities, one, they need to make sure that their defenders are ready. So a red team is not useful if a blue team does not exist, or if a blue team has not taken the time and energy to prepare for a threat. Otherwise, you're just going to burn through that capability. The other thing as well with preparation is making sure you do due diligence. So there's every risk where if your red team isn't suitably qualified, or if they haven't got the demonstrated ability, you're not going to get the value, or worse yet, it's going to do more harm than good. So I think that due diligence factor, as well as your own preparation, need to be factored in before you seek the services of a red team.
Okay, so the last question for you. I know you cooperate with Vsec to provide the red team service for one big banking in Vietnam. So in the progress you work with Vsec, how would you evaluate the quality of the Vsec team?
No, really good question. The team at Vsec have been fantastic. We've done several engagements with them over the last few months. There's an attention to detail and a fastidiousness with how they deliver that my guys and team members have also thoroughly enjoyed working with them. But also just the knowledge and the local awareness that they bring has also been really good as well. So we've had a lot of fun working with them. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we hope to continue that in the future.
Thank you so much. So do you have any advice or message for our team?
Look, I think probably the biggest piece of advice I would have is remember, we are all here to educate, and we are here to learn and enrich ourselves intellectually. So I always like to finish off with a quote, we don't learn to hack, we hack to learn.
Yeah.